Look closely at the floor of almost any major company. The people logging the longest hours and expending the most physical energy rarely capture the greatest financial rewards. They push heavy workloads uphill, yet their bank accounts remain largely static. The friction point is what we can call a wages mindset. A higher trajectory shows the compound growth of self-work. The rule is simple: work harder on yourself than you do on your job. By developing skills of greater utility, you stop chasing a stagnant wage and start attracting compensation. The entrepreneur and author Jim Rohn codified this exact strategy. At age 25, he absorbed the idea that profits are superior to wages, and it shifted his entire economic trajectory. He realized that to have more, you simply have to become more. Escaping the wage trap means pulling your focus away from the paycheck. You have to develop a 360-degree vision of your life, driven by an exhaustive list of reasons to get up early and solve complex problems. That 360-degree vision requires looking in several strict directions. The first is looking back. The past is vital, but only if you treat it as raw capital rather than a place to dwell emotionally. Rohn advised gathering up the wealth of experience from your previous failures and successes. You extract the hard data from what you've survived, and you actively invest that knowledge into your future decisions. The second strict direction is looking inside. You must conduct a harsh, objective audit of your mind, your spirit, and your latent abilities. To access internal potential, you have to ask one specific question: what else could I develop of my mind and my spirit and my talents and my ability that would make me more valuable to myself, to my family, to my organization? By aggressively mining your historical data and refining those internal talents, you take raw life experience and convert it into potent market value. This represents the third direction, looking ahead. You project value by setting strict goals, constructing a financial wall around your family, but you must constantly look over your plans. Market conditions shift hourly. Your plans must be continually fine-tuned, scrapped, and rebuilt to remain functional. The final direction is looking out. You have to monitor the perimeter for saboteurs. The closest enemies are internal, your own thoughts attempting to deceive you, whispering that you're too old, too young, or inexperienced to pull off your newly refined plans. Then there are external saboteurs. Opportunities will arise to compromise your ethics, cross a line, or poach a customer because it's easy and convenient. You have to actively reject those unearned shortcuts. A precise future blueprint will collapse if it isn't aggressively guarded against both your own internal doubt and external moral compromises. When you apply this 360-degree vision in a leadership setting, you become an individual of exceptional utility, and leaders with this level of influence must ruthlessly protect their time and energy from those who would drain it. You apply the law of the harvest. This principle states that you only receive a yield because you planted seeds in the spring, not simply because you need food. In business, leaders must allocate their time strictly to the people who take action and deserve attention, rather than those who simply demand it. Look at this block graphic, which breaks down the math of momentum using the 80-20 rule. To prevent an organization from stagnating, a leader has to spend 80% of their time actively building the network and only 20% of their time managing what they've built. But this ratio collapses if you violate the carry-3 rule. The rule dictates that you can successfully guide 1,000 independent people, but if you allow your management section to be weighed down by 3 dependent people climbing on your back, it will exhaust all your resources and stall the entire structure. To avoid this structural collapse, you have to force rapid independence. You put your team members on their own as quickly as possible, requiring them to accept absolute responsibility for their own sales, customers, and growth. When you combine that forced independence with strict morality and personal courage, your role shifts. You stop operating as a worker frantically chasing milestones, and you become a powerful magnet that organically elevates a completely independent network.